Lawmakers and health officials asking the FDA to investigate the energy drink Prime.
Are you guys targeting children?
That's such a heavy claim.
Senator Chuck Schumer is calling on the FDA to investigate the energy drink Prime.
Do you remember when you couldn't even walk into a store without seeing empty shelves where Prime was supposed to be? I'm talking cleared out aisles, limit signs taped everywhere, kids holding bottles like they just scored a rare Pokemon card. A couple years ago, Prime wasn't just a drink. It was a full-blown status symbol, and right in the middle of that storm were Logan Paul and KSI, two creators who understood one thing better than almost anyone online: hype sells. Back in 2022, the influencer world was at its peak. TikTok was shaping culture overnight. YouTube drama was turning into boxing events. Fans weren't just watching creators anymore. They were investing in them. So when Logan and KSY announced they were teaming up, nobody even asked what they were selling. It didn't matter. People already decided it would win. Prime launched as a hydration drink. But let's be honest, that label barely mattered. This wasn't about electrolytes. This was about identity. Bright neon colors, loud fonts, bottles that looked like they came straight out of a Fortnite skin drop. The packaging practically screamed, "This belongs on TikTok." The bottle looked like a YouTube thumbnail you could hold in your hand. And that was no accident. And they didn't market it like a boring sports drink. They marketed it like exclusive merch. Limited, hard to find, almost impossible to grab. Early drops vanished in minutes. Restocks were teased through videos. New flavors popped up and disappeared like seasonal game skins. Every drop triggered chaos, straight panic buying. The psychology behind it? Simple. If everybody wants something and you can't get it, you want it even more, especially if you're young. Especially if TikTok keeps telling you this is what everyone's drinking.
Logan Paul, the influencer turned businessman, is responding to accusations that his energy drink is unsafe for children.
If you've been on YouTube lately, you might have noticed kids freaking out over Prime.
Logan Paul, he's no stranger to controversy.
There's a new warning for parents and kids about energy drinks. Maybe you've seen Prime Energy on social media.
The drink is getting so much negative attention, schools are actually banning it.
It's just like the most sugary drink that doesn't have sugar in it. And then you look at the sodium level, it's like 1,000 milligrams.
Are you guys targeting children?
Parents were driving across cities just to find one bottle. Kids were flipping Prime for $20, $30, even $50 each. Hydration turned into a flex. Not because it tasted life-changing, not because it reinvented drinks, but because everyone else wanted it. Prime blew up inside schools. Some schools even banned it, which only made it cooler. Logan and KSI didn't calm things down either. They leaned in. The chaos was part of the marketing. Then sponsorship started stacking. Ultimate Fighting Championship branding. Arsenal FC deals. Prime bottles showing up in locker rooms and arenas. Suddenly, it wasn't just influencer merch anymore. It crossed into mainstream culture. News outlets were covering it like it was a social movement. Videos of kids arguing over bottles went viral. Entire shelves were wiped clean in minutes. From the outside, it looked like a billion-dollar empire being built in real time. But here's what most people didn't stop to think about. The hype wasn't built on product loyalty. It wasn't built on long-term habits. It was built on manufactured scarcity. Prime wasn't rare because supply couldn't keep up naturally. It was rare because supply was controlled. Limited drops created urgency. Artificial urgency works until it doesn't. Because once shelves stay stocked, once everyone can grab it anytime, the illusion fades fast. But before that illusion cracked, Prime made a move that quietly set the stage for bigger problems. They launched Prime Energy. Same branding, same loud colors, same look, same shelf presence, just one major difference. 200 milligrams of caffeine per can? That's not hydration, that's rocket fuel. And this is where things got messy. Prime Energy looked almost identical to Prime Hydration. Same logo, same vibe, same aesthetic, and most kids weren't studying labels. They just saw Prime and grabbed it. Now you had younger teens drinking caffeine levels meant for adults. Schools started banning it. Parents raised concerns. Health professionals began speaking out. Logan publicly said the energy version was intended for adults, which raised a serious question. If it's for adults, why does it look like something from the toy aisle? This is where Prime tried to walk both sides. A hydration drink heavily popular with younger audiences. An energy drink carrying the same branding and visual identity. Same hype machine. Same audience overlap. And once health concerns entered the conversation, everything shifted. Because hype drama is one thing. Health scrutiny is another level entirely.
We want you to give it a go.
We want you to give it a review.
Prime. Okay, so... smells a bit high.
What is that flavour you got there?
Tropical punch, it says.
Oh, Jesus.
Loosely. You've just come from the Maldives.
No, it's like swallowing perfume. What is that?
Regulators started paying attention, lawyers started watching, parents started asking tougher questions, and once that happens, the tone changes fast. Still, on paper, Prime looked unstoppable. Revenue numbers were wild, social engagement was massive, the brand seemed untouchable. But here's the deeper issue. Prime wasn't built on taste loyalty. It wasn't built on trust. It was built on momentum. And momentum is powerful until it runs out. Most people don't notice the shift at first. Shelves quietly stay full. Resale prices drop. Kids move on to whatever TikTok tells them is cool next. And when the hype cycle moves on, all that's left is the business underneath. That's when things started to unravel. Because once scarcity disappears, once excitement cools off, once headlines change tone, the foundation gets tested. And in Prime's case, that's when lawsuits started stacking. That's when sales didn't just slow, they stalled. That's when a billion-dollar cultural moment started turning into a legal headache. And this is where the story stops being funny. Hype can hide cracks for a long time. It can distract, it can deflect, but it can't erase paperwork. It can't outrun regulators. And it definitely can't silence legal filings once they hit the table. What looked like a flawless influencer empire was about to face its biggest reality check yet, because when the momentum fades, the truth steps forward loud and clear. And once Prime stopped being impossible to find, the questions finally started rolling in. People weren't blinded by empty shelves anymore. Now it was, what's actually inside this bottle? Who's producing it? And why don't the numbers look like they used to? That's when the foundation really started cracking. First, let's talk about taste. Because once the scarcity magic wore off, people actually drank it instead of just flexing it online. And outside of the hardcore fans, the reviews were rough.
So earlier this year, a weird string of rumors started floating around because someone sued us saying that Prime had forever chemicals like more than you were supposed to drink in like a lifetime, whatever. I made a TikTok debunking it, but regardless, the rumor still got out there, and like low-key, the damage is done. And now, even though we're in this lawsuit, whether it's true or not, people think it. And so the lawsuit got dismissed. The plaintiff does have a chance to amend it, but she's chosen not to. She's coming back with one really weak-ass claim that's probably also going to get dismissed. But it's just like an example of people reaching, trying to get attention, make a quick buck on a frivolous lawsuit that actually has no merit or is based in nothing. And we're not going to settle. Oh, the caffeine one. Where plaintiffs said there was a crazy amount of caffeine that didn't meet what we said on our label in Prime Energy, which is 18 plus and has 200 milligrams of caffeine. That one also got dismissed.
Some said it tasted like perfume mixed with water. Others compared it to cough syrup, melted candy, or chemicals in a bottle. That kind of feedback sticks. And taste matters more than people realize. A real beverage brand survives on repeat buyers, not one-time hype purchases. If someone tries your drink once and never touches it again, that's not a brand. That's a viral moment. And viral moments fade fast. But flavor wasn't the only issue. Behind the scenes, Prime had scaled up like demand would explode forever. Manufacturing contracts were locked in. Suppliers secured long-term agreements. Warehouses filled up. Everyone bet on endless growth. Then reality hit. One of the biggest blows came from Refresco, a major production partner. They filed a lawsuit reportedly worth around $67 million, claiming Prime committed to massive order volumes and then pulled back when sales cooled. Think about that. One lawsuit bigger than the brand's recent annual profits. That's not small drama. That's structural damage. And it didn't stop there. Ingredient suppliers began claiming unpaid invoices. More disputes popped up over quality standards, pricing, and contracts signed during the hype rush that no longer made financial sense. Deals that looked genius during the frenzy suddenly looked reckless once demand slowed. Then the conversation shifted from business drama to health concerns. Parents began filing lawsuits after reports of kids experiencing heart palpitations and anxiety allegedly connected to Prime Energy. Lawyers argued the branding made it too easy for younger consumers to confuse the energy drink with the hydration version. And honestly, that argument wasn't random. Same bottle shape, same bold colors, same logo. If you're 12, you're not scanning caffeine numbers. You're reading the vibe. On top of that, there were claims involving PFAS, so-called forever chemicals, allegedly detected in certain flavors. Whether those cases win in court almost doesn't matter. The headlines alone cause damage. Once a brand popular with kids gets linked to words like toxic or chemical exposure, Parents don't wait for verdicts. They just stop buying. Regulators began paying attention. Politicians sent inquiries. Some schools banned Prime entirely. The same youth culture that powered the rise suddenly became a risk zone. That shift changes everything. And while all this noise was building, something worse was happening quietly. Sales were collapsing. In the UK, revenue reportedly dropped around 70% year over year. Profits reportedly fell more than 90%. In the US, retailers started slashing prices just to move inventory. 12-packs that once sold at premium prices ended up on clearance racks collecting dust. Not because people were furious, but because they didn't care anymore. And indifference is deadly. Hate still brings engagement. Indifference kills brands. TikTok stopped pushing Prime content. School flex culture moved on. The resale market dried up almost overnight. The same drink that once felt like a badge of status started looking like leftover trend stock. Meanwhile, those long-term costs didn't vanish. Factory commitments, staff, distribution, warehousing. That's what happens when you confuse virality with velocity. Viral demand spikes fast, but it doesn't guarantee loyalty. Prime locked itself into expenses built for a future that never fully arrived. What's wild is that Prime didn't technically collapse in a dramatic shutdown. It didn't disappear overnight. It wasn't banned nationwide. It didn't get erased by regulators. It just bled, slowly, publicly, and expensively. A drink that once sold out in minutes now struggles to sell through stock. A bottle that once symbolized internet clout now sits next to forgotten energy drinks nobody asked for. And here's the uncomfortable truth. This wasn't one bad decision. It was a strategy built entirely on momentum instead of fundamentals. Prime didn't create a new beverage category. It didn't redefine taste. It didn't build deep long-term trust. It sold momentum, and momentum always expires. Look at the brands that truly dominate. Red Bull didn't try to compete with soda. It invented the energy drink category. Gatorade didn't try to be soda either. It owned sports performance hydration. Liquid Death didn't act like traditional bottled water. It built a personality-driven lane. Prime did the opposite. It stepped straight into one of the most competitive beverage categories on earth and said, "We'll out-hype everyone." That strategy works online. It does not work forever in grocery stores because attention is rented, brand equity is owned. Prime's real product was never hydration. It was identity. Kids bought it because it signaled connection to internet culture, YouTube drama, TikTok trends. That's powerful and extremely fragile. Identity shifts fast. The moment Prime stopped being rare, it stopped being special. The moment schools banned it, it stopped being rebellious. The moment parents got nervous, it stopped being acceptable. And once identity collapses, there's nothing underneath to catch the fall. Prime couldn't pivot easily. It couldn't suddenly rebrand as a serious athlete-focused product without losing its base. It couldn't double down on kids without inviting regulators. It couldn't lean fully into adults without being questioned. It was stuck in between. Too playful for professional athletes, too intense for cautious parents, too generic for long-term loyalty. That's the risk of building around personalities instead of principles. When the hype fades, the product has to stand on its own. And Prime never clearly explained why people needed it, only why they wanted it right then. The collapse felt sudden to outsiders, but the warning signs were always there. The second shelves stayed full, the illusion cracked. TikTok moved on. Kids found the next trend. And Prime had to survive on repeat buyers instead of adrenaline drops. It wasn't punished for being terrible. It struggled because it was temporary. And here's the painful part. It didn't have to go this way. If hydration and energy had been clearly separated, if branding for adult products wasn't youth-coded, if more early focus went into taste, formulation, and trust instead of pure hype, the story could have looked different. But hype is addictive. When you're selling out instantly, it feels unstoppable. When headlines scream billion-dollar brand, it feels permanent. But business doesn't care how loud the moment was. It cares how long it lasts. Right now, Prime still exists. You can still buy it. You'll still see sponsorship logos. But culturally, the peak has passed. It went from flex to meme, from must-have to markdown, from status symbol to cautionary tale. And that's why this story matters. Influencer brands aren't slowing down. More are launching every year. But many are making the exact same mistake. Confusing virality with value, confusing noise with loyalty, confusing attention with trust. Prime proved one thing clearly. You can out-hype the market for a while, but you can't outrun reality forever. So what do you think? Was Prime always a ticking time bomb built on hype? Or did Logan Paul and KSI fumble what could have been a long-term empire? Were the warning signs obvious from day one? Or was this just the internet doing what it always does? If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.